Oh, let me get my... Okay. I gotta make sure I have the book in my hand so I can wave it around incessantly throughout the video and completely annoy editor Vicky. Hey there, creepy peeps, and welcome to another Weird Wednesday video. Today's a creepy book club video. We're gonna be talking about Ghost Story by Peter Straub. Really quick though, before I get into anything else, I want to say thank you to my creepy patron peeps for your support of my channel. Thank you guys so much. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep, you can follow that link in the description. All right. So like I have been doing, I'm just gonna go ahead and read the description from the back because I'm terrible at summarizing things and the professionals that write this are so much better at summarizing things, so here we go. What is the worst thing you've ever done? In the sleepy town of Millburn, New York, 4 old men gathered to tell one another stories, some true, some made up, all of them frightening. A simple pastime to divert themselves from their quiet lives. But one story is coming back to haunt them and their small town. A tale of something they did long ago, a wicked mistake, a horrifying accident, and they are about to learn that no one can bury the past forever. So, funny story that I have to talk about here, because when I was sitting down to write my notes, and I usually pull up a couple of different sources, so in case I need to like pull up who the publisher was or whatever, I have it ready. I saw that this book got adapted into a film, which I didn't know previously, so I was like, whoa, okay. So I look it up and I see the cover, or the poster I should say, for the movie. I look at the cover and I realize I fucking own this movie. It's been sitting on my horror shelf for probably a year, maybe more than a year, and I have not once watched it. Like, I don't normally do this, but I totally judged the DVD by its cover. I feel like I've talked about how I've kind of been falling out of love with slashers lately, and I feel like a year ago or whenever when I got this, I was starting to get into like hauntings and kind of ghost story type things, which I'm slowly getting more into as I'm kind of falling out of love with the slashers a little bit. It all sounds very sad. I still like slashers, but whatever, that's not the point. I saw the cover for the DVD and I was like, ooh, that looks intriguing. Didn't look up what it was about or anything, and I think there was like a sale going on wherever I got this, where I probably had like a coupon code or something like that. So I just grabbed it and I still have not watched it. Yeah, anyways, that was it. That was like the end of the story. It wasn't too exciting. I just wanted to share it. All right, so I really liked the setup for the book. Some people, like, it is quite a big book, or a long book. It's 500 pages, just over 500 pages. It's kind of slow going. Like, it definitely takes its time setting the scene, like getting to know the town, getting to know our 4 main characters, the Chowder Society, which are what these 4 men that I mentioned call themselves when they get together and tell each other ghost stories. So by the time the first ghost story is told in the book, like, I was totally into it. I'm like, oh, like, set the scene really well, set up the characters really well, like, bam, I'm into this, like, ghost stories, let's go. I really loved the detail in the descriptions of like the ghosts and the creatures and things. Everything was very vivid and well described to the point where it's like you can easily put yourself in the character's shoes and see it as if, you know, you were the character. So it was very cool. I liked the vivid detail. I also really loved this kind of literal idea of the past coming back to haunt these men. So like I said, something in their shared past that they did, a mistake, as you find out at the end of the book. It is, you know, it wasn't intentionally done, but it was still something horrible that they did. Straub does a really good job of making this evil that's coming back to haunt them not just come after the Chowder Society, but comes after other people in the town, anybody who gets in its way. And I feel like it raises the stakes in this story. So it's not just these 4 characters that are being affected by it. It's literally the entire town. And like I said, I feel like it kind of raises the stakes, raises the tension, and it definitely helps to kind of spring the Chowder Society into action because they're not the only ones being affected by this. They're not the only ones that, you know, are paying for their mistake. I liked the vagueness with which Ava / Alma, or whatever you want to call her, is described. You never actually know, like there's never a name given for what she is. Once we kind of start figuring out what's going on, multiple characters kind of describe them as like kind of werewolf-like, sometimes vampire, sometimes vampiric. Like basically they do survive on blood or like, you know, human flesh essentially. So in that sense, they're kind of like werewolves, kind of like vampires, but there's no actual like definitive answer given as to what they are. The only thing that really Straub will give you is that it's evil, just pure evil. And I liked that because it just made it terrifying, because you don't really know what you're up against. You kind of understand her MO, like you know the tools she has at her disposal, how her minions, so to speak, kind of kill people. You understand all of that, but you don't know what they are. And I feel like there's a kind of comfort in knowing if it's like a vampire or a werewolf, especially for horror fans, because we've seen so many movies and read so many books about vampires and werewolves and all that stuff. Like there's almost like a comfortability with that. Like, you know, if I know we're dealing with vampires, I automatically know the rules, unless they're changing them up, but I know the steps I could take as a character to defeat said vampire. Whereas, you know, we have to learn along with the characters like what Ava's MO is, like what she is and how she works and how to stop her. And that's more terrifying because it's, you know, it's into the unknown. Or, you know, if you want to view it as her just being evil, you know, evil as this kind of like abstract concept, like how do you stop that? Evil is not a tangible thing. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent here. It's just, I liked that. It made the book scarier. The only thing I really didn't like was the middle of the book, which goes by real slow. Like I was into it after the setup in the first ghost story, and then it kind of comes to a grinding halt until the end when it picks up again. And just the middle gets bogged down by the introduction of so many characters and their backstories, and kind of very Stephen King-esque, where we go like a fucking flashback within a flashback, and it just gets very convoluted through the middle. To mention, the Chowder Society remains so passive until Don Wanderley shows up to, you know, kind of save the day. Like he's a very active character and he takes an active interest in what the evil is, how to stop it, where the Chowder Society are kind of just like resting on their laurels a bit. And I know they're older men and it's, you know, they're not as young as Don is and whatever, but and another thing, like as characters, they all are experiencing these nightmares and they all kind of are experiencing this dread, and they know that something is wrong, and yet they don't talk to each other about it. And they're the only other people in the town that would believe them. Like you're listening to them from their point of view. They're like, they don't want to seem crazy, or they don't, you know, they're afraid people won't believe them. But the Chowder Society would believe each other, right? They trust each other. So it's like, it doesn't make any sense like how it goes so long in the book without them just talking to each other. And maybe that's just something men do. I'm sorry, I said it. Like if it was a society of women, they would have dished it out already at the beginning of the book. Kind of just frustrated with like, just tell each other what's happening. It was very annoying, and it made the middle of the book so slow and kind of frustrating to read. But once it got to the end and the action started kicking in, then I got back into it. Overall, I did enjoy the book. I'm very excited to watch the movie now and see how it compares. However, speaking on the book, it's not something, even though I did enjoy it ultimately by the end, it's not something I'm gonna pick up and read again. I will say if you are a fan of Stephen King, however, I think you'll really enjoy this. It's got a lot of similarities, like overall it's pretty similar to Stephen King, so I would definitely suggest it if you're a fan of his writing. Overall, I'm gonna give this a 3.5 out of 5 on barnesandnoble.com. It's got a 4 out of 5. On Amazon, it's got a 4.1 out of 5, and on Goodreads, it has a 3.9 out of 5. Just in case anybody's New Year's resolution is to read more, I have a creepy book club. It is on Goodreads. There's always a link for my profile in Goodreads in the description. You can find the group that way. I'll leave a link directly to the group page down there if you want to check it out. Normally, you know, I know the holidays are kind of busy for people, so normally in a Creepy Book Club review, I will show book club members reviews of the books in the video. So if you want to join us, please do. We already have our books for the first half of 2019 planned. So for January, we are going to be reading Intensity by Dean Koontz. Did I say February? I meant January. I don't know what I said. Did I say January? In February, we're going to be reading Dracul by, I haven't looked up how to say this person's name yet. Dacu, is it French? Stoker and J.D. Barker. In March, we will be reading Last Days by Adam Neville. Adam Neville wrote The Ritual, which was a Netflix movie that came out last year, 2017, I believe. Then in April, we're going to be reading Horror Show by Greg Kihn, K-I-H-N. I just don't have the physical book to show you. I'm sure there's a picture popping up on the screen because I ordered it. It's still not in yet. Then in May, we're going to be reading Burnt Offerings by Robert Marasco, which inspired the movie, which I did review a little while ago now, but I'm very excited to read it. And then in June, we're going to be reading Summer of Night by Dan Simmons, who also wrote The Terror, which has become a AMC series, which I really want to watch, but I want to read the book first. Eventually. We'll see how this one goes, if I like this one. So yeah, so those are almost all of the books we're going to be reading for the first half of 2019, minus Horror Show, which will arrive soon. But yeah, so that's it for my review of Ghost Story. If you've already read Ghost Story or if you've already seen it, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it. If you've read and seen it, please let me know how they compare for you. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here and become a Creepy Peep today. I post videos Monday through Friday, and you can ring that notification bell down there to be notified every time I post a video, even though it doesn't always work. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay strange. Bye!